Hello and welcome to the Merle and Locke podcast. I'm Merle.
And I'm Locke.
Set sail and low expectations for everything nerd, accompanied by healthy, albeit shameful, helping to pointless banter like folks and questionably acquired knowledge.
And more.
And more. So for today's topic, Locke, we've been doing a lot of research on this topic, admittedly, through the past couple of weeks.
Research is what we're calling it, yes.
Yes, absolutely. Extensive research on this topic.
It really needed some nitty-gritty research.
So what it's been is something called the WoW Reeemiiix, right? Is that the actual title of it?
Well,
just
WoW
Reeemiiix?
Pandaria Reeemiiix.
Pandaria Reeemiiix. Okay. Yeah, so what this is in the World of Warcraft, they've created this thing where, they've always had this kind of like time traveling thing when you start out a new character and you can pick what expansion you want to do. But now they've created this whole event that revolves around it where you create a character, you say, yes, I want this character to be, to go into the Pandaria Reeemiiix, where you're stuck in Pandaria in that expansion. And you have to go through the story and whatnot. And it doesn't matter what level you are, like everything scales to you. Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you could still get pretty powerful and what have you. But it's not like it was before, where if you do the time traveling thing and you go to Pandaria and you get to like level
60.
I feel like, yeah, level 60, then everything is just one shot. You can one shot everything because like you're all caught up now and you can do the new expansions, so move, like they're telling you to move on, But in this Reeemiiix, like everything is still, at least somewhat difficult, even when you get to max level at 70, like everything is still a challenge. For the longest time now, what I've done is where I renew my WoW subscription, like I'll renew it for like, usually like 6 months at a time, right? Where I'll be like, okay, they got like, little rewards and whatnot for you subscribing for 6 months and, other rewards for subscribing for a year, all at once. And I usually do like the 6 month thing. And like after I renewed it the first time, or renewed it this last time, I did the 6 months and I played for maybe a month or two. And then I just didn't touch it for like 3 months. and did go into the World of Warcraft hardly at all. And now that the Reeemiiix comes out, and I have less than 30 days left of my subscription, and I am hooked again. Going through Pandaria and what have you, and actually getting like the full experience of this. Because when Pandaria initially came out, I wasn't playing World of Warcraft when Pandaria came out.
I was, but just for a short amount of time.
Yeah, and being able to get into it now and play it proper for the most part, or not exactly how it was, but being able to keep up that difficulty and whatnot.
Kinda, you still get to live the story, just with some little extras.
Yeah, exactly, and I've been loving it. Like I love exploring Pandaria. Like I spent a lot of time in Pandaria, but I've never went through the entire story. And being able to do that now is, man, it's like rekindled that fire that I have for World of Warcraft. And like I've become kind of obsessive over it and constantly wanting to play again. And it's a lot of fun. Now, as far as the Reeemiiix goes, man, there's all these things that you get, right? Like it's not the regular rewards that you get for completing quests and what have you. You get these like little caches, right? These little caches of armor and these gems. So like these gems you get, or if you want to go into the gem part.
Well, yeah, the gems are just your little stat boost that can be socketed into specific pieces of armor or jewelry, whether it be you get plus haste, plus speed. Then they did the Diablo thing where if you get so many of those gems, you get to crunch them together and make a more powerful gem until you've maxed it out, which I think is a total of, let's see, 3, 9... let's say it's about 24 of these gems, I think, max it out. I could be wrong in that math.
Something like that. But yeah, it is quite a lot.
But yeah, once you max them out, then you get the extra addition of stamina on top of that, so you get some extra health, which is an interesting concept to add to it. I mean, your armor's not as buffed out as it would be in the original expansion, but having these little things, and then your armor also has, say, your head's, I think it's your headpiece, gets like a meta socket, and you get certain abilities that you can put in that little socket that just kind of change up the gameplay.
It's not like regular builds, right? It opens up like an entirely new avenue or entirely new approach to actually like character or class building, right? Where you can have all these abilities that help you out or complement abilities that are already in your class by default, and you can create like these whole new mixes that I appreciate in itself. Me myself, like creating all these or like socketing all these abilities and whatnot, I haven't experimented too much, but there have been, like, I like the fact that I run across these certain abilities and being able to complement them with other abilities that I've found and socketing them into my armor. Even like some of them, most of them are just like passive abilities too. Like you have these things called tinkering gems, yeah, or tinkering abilities, whatever it may be, and it just like does things by default, right? Where some create like a shield around you. If you use you use abilities, and then it creates a shield around you to protect you. You have some things which like, I have a couple of these abilities which like, it says there's a chance every time you use an ability that like a meteor storm will come down and attack your target.
Hey, I use the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And man, I love it. Like the amount of damage output that you can achieve with some of these tinkering gems, man, it's crazy. And I absolutely love it. Like just having just doing one simple attack and then having all of these, passive abilities just activate all at once and just obliterate your target. It's so satisfying.
Like, I feel like they pulled part of that idea from, because they tried something out on Classic, from what I remember, where you were going to be like a mage who was going to be able to like use some tank abilities, and they were just kind of changing things up for Classic players. I think it was the Season of Discovery is what they had called it. And you would just find these random chests or loot these things that you could get new abilities. And I didn't get the chance to hop over there on Classic and try it out, but I'm sure that the concept probably had pulled from that a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, because a lot of what they're doing seems to have pulled from some iteration of their Blizzard games, which I'm not complaining about.
Oh man, it's much welcome. Like man, I know they've done like lots of little things in the past, to like mix things up a bit, like between expansions, right? So I know like, they're getting to the point where like every year, maybe two, that they put out this new big expansion, but the in between sometimes it gets kind of dull, or it had done in the past. Where there wasn't enough that would be there to pull me back in. But man, with this remix stuff, good lord, it sunk its hooks in deep,
Yeah.
Like I can't get over like how much I've been enjoying this and being able to experience all these dungeons and raids, because like before going through Pandaria and doing the dungeons and raids, for the most part, we would get too high a level too quick, and then we just go into raids and dungeons and just be one-shotting everything and just flying through it, and it didn't really mean anything to me. But now that we're able to implement or have a high enough difficulty to be able to implement strategies and whatnot, and actually testing our skill, it's been very satisfying, and I absolutely love it. Being able to experience for the most part, Pandaria, as it was intended originally.
Right. Which I feel opens up the avenues for trying it out on other expansions as well. As time goes on, you take this concept of the Pandaria remix and you decide to say, let's time run back to the Wrath of the Lich King or Cataclysm, and this time you just have these new armor perks, because the other thing that I noticed is how fast we've leveled up. I mean, we're already max level now, and it only took us, a matter of a couple of days if you consider the fact that you and I were only playing on the weekend.
Yeah, it didn't take long, admittedly, because there was a huge boost to experience gain. And we only did almost 3, because we only got the Kunlai Summit before we hit max level.
I mean, it was, 2.5, maybe 3 zones. Because we weren't even really finished with the Kunlai Summit. Yeah, I feel that it's a good way, especially before the expansion drops, because they say, like, once this remix event is over, we'll still have those characters. They'll still be level, whatever level they are. It's just they'll no longer be time runners.
Yeah, so there is, like, I don't know how long the period was initially. From what I remember, I don't even know when it came out, really, when they started doing the time walking, but
it wasn't too long ago.
Yeah, so it was like, I don't know, maybe, what was it, 90 days it's at right now? Maybe 80 days?
Yeah, we're 80 some days. Well, we're close to 80 days at this point.
Yeah, before the remix event ends. And then, yes, like you said, our characters that we had made in there that weren't allowed, like, currently we're not allowed to leave Pandaria. Like, those characters are stuck in Pandaria. They cannot go anywhere else. But once that time is up and the remix event is over, then they just become regular characters and you can use them wherever the heck you want. I don't know how the armor and abilities and the cape and whatnot that you get that gets stuffed with certain perks and whatnot to all your abilities. I don't know if that's going to stay or if you just get kind of like basic armor from the regular game.
Yeah, I feel like something will change. They won't let you keep that for the next expansion, really, but I'm curious to see what they'll do. If they'll just be like, okay, here's just your generic fighting clothes for the next expansion. Kind of like when you get like a character boost for max level, they're just like, here's armor.
Yeah, I am curious as to why they started with Pandaria. Is it because, like, I know, like, WoW Classic is up to Cataclysm now?
I don't know. I am quite curious about that too, but maybe it's because I think Cataclysm came after, or Pandaria came after Cataclysm.
So just like starting off where the Classic is.
So they decided to jump the gun and say, well, we don't want to like keep forcing the same stuff down somebody's throat. Like, they don't want to force Kata down regular WoW players' throat while Classic is already being like, look, here's Cataclysm. And then you'd get real tired of the same content real quick. And we already had Shadowlands, last expansion. So that was almost a rehash of Wrath of the Lich King, because it had to do with Death Knights for the most part.
As far as the remix goes, are you excited to see if they continue this remix? Because I mean, I don't know what the general consensus is, but
I don't know either. I've been staying away because I thought about this topic and I was like, you know what, I don't want to pay attention to what other people are having to say about it. I just wanted to talk about it and what my thoughts were. I can see it being used for later. Be like, let's do a remix of another expansion, because I think that would actually be a really good idea.
I mean, in the back of my mind, I can already, hear the haters saying, oh, this is just recycled content or whatnot. It's not new content. I'm already hearing that in the back of my mind. But for me, myself, like being able to revisit such a good expansion that I never really got the full experience of, and being able to go through that, me, myself, not necessarily being a new player, but being someone who didn't get to experience those earlier expansions like in their full glory. And on top of that, having this whole new armor and socketing armor with abilities and gems and perks and what have you. Like it's almost a whole new game to me, you know? Like I mean it's World of Warcraft, but the mechanics are so different as just really interesting and really appealing to me. And I can't get enough of it, you know? And I'm excited that after we record a couple episodes that we go and play today for the rest of the night.
Probably.
Yeah.
We'll just jump on that immediately after this.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
I am excited to be along with you to get to see you experience Pandaria for the first time. Because although I experienced most of Pandaria while it was available at the time, it wasn't all there for me. I didn't have the money to keep going with it, so I was like, you know what, I think I stopped playing shortly after I got out of the Jade Forest, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. But, I was playing a Paladin, and the Paladin was just so boring. The only thing was, like, once they nerfed the Paladin that I played as for Pandaria, I was like, well, that's it. Played my Death Knight for a good while after that.
Like, we actually, went a different direction here. Like, we usually main in the Alliance, and we decided to go with Horde characters this time around, and we went with some Zandalari trolls, which I've been having a lot of fun with. Like, I've never played a shaman before, and being able to play a shaman is just, it's so good. It's so satisfying.
I've always been the one to be like the main like alt person where I had all these alts, and you had always had just your hunter. That was it. No more, no less. I tried to get you to branch out, and you were like, no. I won't do that. But once you opened up, you really did. And I kind of enjoy being the person that forced you into that.
I always stuck with that hunter because I've always been in the boat of this guy. I've completed so much with him. I want to complete everything with him. I want him to go through everything before I even think about creating a new character and doing something else, Right. But now that I've been like putting that to the wayside, I kind of got bored of my hunter, my main, and like being able to like branch out to like different classes and trying different methods of playing other forms of DPS or area effect or damage over time and what have you, like just different facets of playing DPS characters. Like I mean I've kind of explored like tanking and healing here and there.
I remember you tried Brewmaster Monk and you really enjoyed that.
I did, but it was super complicated. Oh man. Like I was like, I don't think I'm up to this task, I think we kind of like fuddled our way through a Pandaria dungeon. Not the remix, but it was before.
Yeah, no, it was just ordinary game, time walking, not time running.
Yeah, and I tried doing a Pandaren monk tank for you and your nephew, and I think you were healing and your nephew was DPS. I think we fuddled our way through a dungeon, It worked out. But golly, it was hard, like trying to work that monk. Like maybe now that I've gotten some experience with like, trying to get together different abilities and what have you and getting more of a better feel for it. I might be able to do it better now. But back then where I had no experience prior, it was tough. It was like Oh man, there was like a whole science behind it. So I can't say whether or not I recommend Monk as a tank. I'm sure many skilled people, will say otherwise. Maybe I'll just have to try it out again for myself and get a better idea. Well, I guess we'll see. So as far as the remix goes in its entirety, do you, as much as I do, want to see them continue this trend?
Absolutely. I welcome it. I implore them that they should keep this going.
You heard it here, folks. Merle and Locke, we're pretty big on the remix. This is a complete game changer. We absolutely adore it. We are having an absolute ball with it, and we want to see more. Give us more.
The nerdgasm going on.
I know, for real. Jeez. Thank you for joining us on the Merle and Locke podcast. If you enjoyed this banter, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/merleandlocke or simply follow the link in the description. Thank you.